So as you know, 2025, the job market it is fried. It is cooked more than an overdone steak in a burnt rack of ribs. On LinkedIn, recently I've been applying for jobs. Not like I need one anyway, but if you're in America and you're job searching, I'm just gonna tell you that it only gets worse. I've been seeing on the internet lately of all these job posts that are completely fake. So I go in, I'm doing my typing, filling out application after application, resume after resume. I have like 7 different resumes for 7 different roles. I get like the email of what we'll do when we have decided to roll after your first resume. There was one job stationed out of the UK that requires 5 steps before getting hired. And you go through like an assessment test, and then you go through an interview, a pre-interview, and then you go through another interview, and then you go through a team interview on Zoom, and then guess what the 5th interview is? To determine if you get the job or not. Guess. You have to fly all the way to the UK to have an in-person interview. And then the funny thing is, the fly from the Philippines all the way to the UK is basically like, I'm just going to take a big chunk of whatever money I brewed up in the past month and just fly there just so I can just waste my time and my money just to not get a job. It's a remote position for like a kids help center, call center. I didn't know kids had like a help call center. Apparently it's for kids with depression or whatever. They call and it's, I don't even know. But all I'm going to say is that's awfully ridiculous. But here's another thing. Seeing job posts that require like 10 years of experience is bad enough. For entry level, you have to have 3 to 5 years of experience with a bachelor's degree. Like, why would anyone go to college for 4 years I have to have 3 years or 5 years of working experience, or not working experience, but experience in the job field. Like, as soon as you get out of college, like, what is the point? I remember one time when I was in college and I needed a minimum wage job. I was denied for every minimum wage job because I had no experience. Now I'm in college and they know I'm in college. The fast food restaurant is literally right there. And they're like, well, you have no job experience. Well, no shit, Sherlock, it's because I'm in school. Plus, I'm 17. Like, I need a damn job, obviously, so I don't starve to death while trying to, like, go to school. Well, I don't starve to death on the weekends, because they don't serve cafeteria food on the weekends. But anyway, what doesn't make sense to me is how we apparently have like millions of jobs on the internet, but no one can get hired. You want to know why? It's because everyone's granddad, great-grandfather, and also grandfather that's buried under the ground is still employed. Because even after you die, you still have to work. Just like you gotta pay to die, you gotta pay to live, and you gotta pay. Basically, you want to know how you can remain immortal in the United States of America? Just get a whole bunch of student loans and you can never die, because you can't die unless you pay it off. Perfect logic, right? Anyway, I'm just gonna say that Gen Z, we're cooked. You're not getting hired. You're never getting hired. Well, I'm not going to say never. I like to remain positive, but I'm only going to be like 70, maybe 65% positive here, that there are possibilities for remote work if you want to, like, leave the hellhole and actually, not slave to death. But there are numerous of things you can do, because the job market, once again, is cooked. But what you can do, freelance, you can learn a trade on the market, but that's risky. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're pretty much you might as well just sell your house and live under a bridge. But Other things you can do is you can apply for remote roles, which is basically the same bullshit as applying for a regular job in the United States, but you can outsource to other countries that may be able to, sponsor your visa, but you better get into tech. Have some tech skills, do a lot of studying. I will say that I ran into a lot of good remote jobs, and I know a lot of people that have remote jobs and they're doing very well. I've got like 4 different streams of remote jobs, or it's not really a job, or like for freelance. 3 different currencies, which, get euros, NFTs, and Japanese yen. But the one thing, the US dollar will always drag you down under. But anyway, there are numerous options, and for sure, like starting YouTube, I started to notice a large number of new YouTube creators such as myself. I'm trying to get monetized because I want a 5th stream income, because I'm trying to get that full financial independence and never ever be homeless again, because I was homeless before and I never want to do that shit again, because the people that I was around were praising for my downfall, and then when I came up and they all were screeching hate, and I don't ever want to give them something to preach about again. But for your situation, I don't know what situation you got, but you better save as much as you can. If you got a job, stick with it and cut all those expenses to the T-bone. I mean, to the bone of the steak, of the T-bone steak. And then also, try a side hustle. Try to look for something that you can do online, because as soon as you get at least one source, buddy, I'm going to tell you, I know a kid that is living half of my living expenses. My living expenses in the Philippines, well, actually, my monthly bills are $616 a month, counting utilities and my rent. But also the extra $166 is actually to keep the IRS fed with crumbs. And then also my Nomad insurance, which also covers my injuries or whatever happens medical wise, and also my electronics if they ever get stolen or damaged while I'm abroad. But there's a kid somewhere in the Philippines that's living on $7 a day. $7. Can you even do that in the States? No, you're spending like $100 a day maybe. The average bills of an American is like $2,000, $2,500 to $3,000, maybe $4,000 a month. Can you imagine living on $213 a month with $100 rent? Oh, all you need is one remote job, make $1,000 a month, and you're balling. But that's just one of the possibilities that you can do. Once you take that big leap and you don't have to worry about pouring your entire paycheck for nothing, like car insurance, health insurance, and all this other BS. You gotta pay freaking phone note, car note. You gotta pay those extra sets of like ridiculous taxes, like your air tax, your water tax, your walking tax, your farting tax, your shitting tax, your peeing tax, your sleeping tax, and also your blinking tax, and just every other fee, like your Spotify, Apple, Netflix, Hulu, and just any ridiculous fee that you have to pay. I pay only like a few things here: food, water, which is like $3 a month, electricity, which is mainly like $50 a month, and that's because I run the aircon on constantly, because I'm constantly here grinding, and then my rent, which is like $400. That's four things. Four things compared to the average American paying 20 things a month. I pay four things a month. This other kid pays two things a month, and that's rent and food. Can you believe that? But anyway, all I'm saying is, if you're still like in the United States trying to like make it happen, it's still very possible, but you are going to be struggling to the T. You need to regroup, think of a plan, and if you want to get out of the country, I mean, who's gonna stop you? Only your pockets. But there are so many ways. You gotta tap into that entrepreneur spirit, because we are not in the times of
working hard to the bone
and then owning anything. We're not gonna own nothing in our entire generation. We are going to be dead by the time we even like can own anything. When I sold all my vehicles, I was like, I'm gonna miss you, but I don't need you anymore, and there's no way I'm ever buying a house or going to afford to buy a house, or even gonna try to drive myself as hard as possible to buy a house in a place surrounded by people who probably do not like me and hate me, because envy and jealousy is a dangerous thing, especially for young people. Because some older gents don't like it when young people are doing better than them. And that is sad. We're supposed to want the younger generation to do better than the older generation. That's the way it's supposed to be. So I don't understand what's this mentality in the States that want people younger than you to just
suffer.
But like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of the video. Got questions? I got an email. If you got questions. I will not be giving out any personal information, especially like my whereabouts and where I live, especially my condo building, because I respect my privacy and my safety. You don't know what goes on in other people's lives. So stay tuned.
See ya.